Good day. This presentation is about maximum sustainable yield, a concept in ecology and economics that refers to the maximum catch that can be sustained indefinitely. If you've been on social media for quite some time, you may have encountered this picture, which intends to make a joke about the quote, "There are plenty of fish in the sea." It implies that the problem is that the fish are simply hard to get. But then the reality of the situation is more like this. There were plenty of fish in the sea. But then again, when you look at this graph, what you'll find is that captured fish has been sustained since around 1985, and it seems to be a good sign. We are sustaining our fish catch rates. However, when you think about the technological advancements in fishing equipment and fishing vessels, which allow fisheries to catch more efficiently and move further to areas previously unexploited, you'll realize that this is not proportional to these advancements. When we look at trends in marine stocks, we can see that overfishing is worsening. Aside from the increase in overfishing, previously underfished areas are being increasingly utilized. Yet production did not increase. The additional fishing effort did not increase yield. Why? Because the fish in the sea is less than before. Now going back to the image earlier, at first there are plenty of fish in the sea. However, when the catching is unsustainable, there are not so plenty of fish in the sea anymore. But then, using technological advancements, which is represented by the lengthening of the line, the fisherman has access to the previously untapped resources. But then when he again catches unsustainably, this will be depleted and there will be few fish in the sea until such time that there will be no fish in the sea. Thus, fisheries management has been an important field of study, as it also affects economies of nations that rely on fisheries. The introduction of control measures such as the maximum sustainable yield was devised as a basis for controlling catch rates, leading to sustainability. And this is based on the general trend in population growth. If you have taken ecology classes, you would be familiar with the logistic curve of population growth. While the population size is still low, the growth rate is also slow due to the few interbreeding individuals. At the middle, the growth rate becomes high because there are more fish that can interbreed. However, as the population increases further, the growth rate becomes slow again due to insufficient resources. This limit is known as the carrying capacity, the limit to population growth. In summary, the red area is not sustainable because there is a risk of totally depleting the population. There is also low benefit as the growth rate is also slow. The green area is sustainable because there is already a lot of fish. It is also high benefit because the growth rate is high due to the many interbreeding individuals. Lastly, the blue area is sustainable because again of the large population. However, it has low benefits because the carrying capacity limits growth rate. Now looking at this in terms of growth rate, the graph would look like this. However, we would start with a high population because pristine conditions are what fisheries start with. We start with a high population, and then as fishermen utilize the area, the population size decreases. So this graph is more ideal in looking at the fisheries management. Now, when we look at it like this, we start with a pristine fishing ground. And then as we utilize it further, the area is still underfished because the growth rate is still not maximized. Then we reach the highest point, which is the maximum sustainable yield. This is the point at which the growth rate of the population is highest. However, when fishing rates are increased, the population growth becomes slower because the individuals again are starting to be depleted until such time that there are no more fish to interbreed so that the growth rate goes back down to zero. While the concept of maximum sustainable yield seems to be well grounded, there are still critics against the use of this. It is seen to be ineffective ecologically due to the exclusion of factors such as fish size and fish age, which determine the fish population's ability to reproduce. It also does not assess the ecological impacts of exploitation. The effect of loss of certain species to other organisms in the ecosystem is not evaluated when computing for maximum sustainable yield. Lastly, there is an issue on bycatch, because when using fishing nets, fishermen also catch non-target species. These issues are not addressed by maximum sustainable yield. Because of these complexities, other measures have to be done to properly manage and conserve fish stocks. Waste reduction and removal is an important issue that we can still control. By reducing waste and removing waste in our oceans, we are able to help the fish population recover. Discouraging further expansion is also important. Subsidies from the government for the advancement and expansion of fishing activities further gives pressure against the fish stocks. For example, the Agriculture and Fisheries Modernization Act aims to help fisherfolk and farmers have better economic status through modernization of equipment, resulting to higher yield with respect to effort. While this is good for the economy in the short term, in the long run, due to overfishing, this would further aggravate the fishing industry. Lastly, the protection of key ecological areas is an important conservation measure as well. For example, in Kyoto, the demand for snow crabs has increased due to the globalization. Young and soft-shelled crabs were caught simply to meet the demand. However, by collaborating with scientists, the local community was able to establish a marine protected area in reproduction areas so that crabs can replenish its population. And this is a known success story of depleting resources that were able to recover and sustain for several years now. Now, I would like to end with the quote that I started with. There are plenty of fish in the sea. However, I would also like to emphasize that this is only possible if we manage our resources properly. That is all. Thank you and good day.